let's go ahead and take. I'm not gonna say take a detour, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up with a discussion. The discussion is in regards to the bombshell report that nobody seems to be talking about. Well, people are talking about it now because they pretty much had no choice. But the NFL, with their corporate partnerships and the networks that they work hand in hand with, have made it. I'm not gonna say like for legality reasons, because I ain't got that much for y'all to come sue me for. But I'm just gonna infer that the NFL has had a hand in making sure that this conversation has not really been talked about on any of their networks, whether it be NBC, whether it be ESPN, NFL Network. You see it in passing. I looked up, I looked up YouTube's. This has been out since last week. People are just now talking about it. There was pretty much a 4 or 5 day period when nobody wanted to talk about it besides the person who reported it, which is Pablo Torre on
Shout
his
out to Pablo.
podcast. Yeah, on his podcast, Pablo Finds Out. For 4 days, I did NFL Collusion. Nothing on Rich Eisman. Nothing on Pat McAfee. Um, Nothing on
It's on
ESPN. Nothing
ESPN.
on GID. Nothing on First Take. That to me, the fact that the NFL went out of this way to give the wink wink and tell people don't talk about this ish lets me know that this is serious, bro. So talk to me, take me through your experience with this report, Rod.
Okay, Herb. When I started digging into this, because you said you wanted to talk about it, I wasn't even aware of it. Right? That's how hush hush this whole thing has been, right? Like I wasn't even aware there was an NFL collusion thing because I'm not really on social media and shit a lot. Like I pop my head here and there, but like for me, I didn't know about it until you told me, so I started looking into it. Obviously, Pablo Torres is the way to go. He's the one who
Yeah.
has the 61-page document. And to be honest with you, Herbie, when it comes down to this whole situation, the word I'm going to use is disappointed. And the reason why I use the word disappointed for me is because you can't let the guys like me be right about you. Like the NFL owners, we're the guys like me, we're right about you. Like you guys are in cahoots. The union, y'all ain't shit. Like the guys like me, we're right about. Like there's a lot of people. Like I'm one of those people who doubts the government, bro. And I don't know if I should be
As
saying
you
this.
should, as you should, as you should,
You know what I'm
as you
saying? I
should.
doubt the
Yeah.
government all the time. So for me, I look at the NFL and the powers that be. I look at everything as a whole, Herbie. Every job I've ever worked, every place I've ever been, I've always seen some levels of corruption. So corruption can't escape human beings because we are naturally corrupted, right? If you're religious, we're sinners. I'm not gonna get that deep into it. But when I was looking into it, Herbie, I was just like, you guys can't, like, y'all can't be this happy to be this terrible. Like, like Herbie, one of the things that got me about the report, and I know, by now, I guess people tuning into this might at least have some idea about the report, but this is when I knew I was like, ugh, of course the owner said this. When I got to the part where they were speaking on the Dean Spanos and
Dean
Michael
Spanos and Michael Bidwell. Yeah.
the
Yep.
car, and for those who don't know, Dean Spanos, owner of the Chargers, Michael Bidwell, owner of the Cardinals, and these guys are exchanging text messages, bro. And this is when Michael Bidwell had just signed Kyler Murray to a new contract. Mind you, there is also other text messages between Keem and Michael Bidwell about making sure to load up so many incentives for Kyler Murray to make sure he gets his money. Right? They
And
already had
and
that.
let me frame it with the actual the text
Yours, yours,
conversation.
bro.
Yeah, so because I have it right here, bro. So Dean Spanos texted Michael Bidwell, to congratulate him on signing Murray and let him know that the parameters of the contract not being fully guaranteed would help Spanos in his upcoming negotiations
With
with
Justin Herbert.
Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert. And I quote, I think many teams will be happy with it once they had a chance to review. Cleveland really screwed things up, but I was resolved to keep that guaranteed relatively low. So think about
It
that.
always starts with the Browns,
It
man.
always starts with the
It always starts with the freaking Browns, dog.
So that's the part that I was gonna actually get to, right? Because this is two parts. The part that the NFL at large feels the way about the Browns that we feel the way about the Browns. They like these goddamn knuckleheads, bro. I bet they be having conversations like when Jimmy Haslam comes in the room, everybody just looking at him, and Jimmy Haslam's like, "Yeah, I know, guys. I know. I just can't help myself. I'm just, good old Jimmy. I just can't stop it, man. I'm just gonna mess up. That's what Jimmy does, you know." They look at him like the fucking clown fool. God damn it, I owe $2 now. Great. Yeah, you being a bad influence, Rod. They just looking at him like the clown, the town fool, man. They look at Jimmy Haslam and the Browns the way we do as normal people, bro. But this right there, what I just said, I think many teams will be happy once they have a chance to review. Cleveland really screwed things up, but I was resolved to keep the guaranteed relatively low. These dudes was high-fiving, dog. They was ecstatic. Like, they were lit because of this. Like, they're texting high fives, and the part with the so let me bring it back a little bit. I'm gonna say this on the front end, right? And I should have said this to start the conversation, because ultimately this is how the conversation starts and ends. Legally, there is no collusion. This is the NFL. The NFL has millions, millions spent on the best lawyers that money can buy. They know how to word things in a way that keeps them free from legality, keeps them free from litigation. So in that meeting where all of this stems from, where Roger Goodell kind of gave the wink wink, like, hey, we don't want you guys giving guaranteed contracts because that is going to be the norm. But y'all do you. That y'all do you was all it took to give them the cover. He was able to say what needs to be said, but also keep him free and the NFL free from this, which is ultimately what happened by the arbitrator, which he said, while I do think there was collusion, it is not enough for me to side with the grievance. That's basically saying I don't have enough to meet the threshold, even though y'all know y'all playing. Y'all playing in everybody's face. That's that's
It's
essentially.
so bad that they know they can get. Like, now I feel like this report coming out. I think. Listen, when it was reported, not to cut you off, Herbie,
No,
but
go ahead. Go ahead.
when this was initially reported, one of the things Pablo Torres said, or one of the things that he harped on, was that the NFL, the union, all the people involved really didn't want this document to get out.
Mm-hmm.
But my pushback to this, Herbie, would be, if this document comes out, so what? What happens?
Well, so that's the second part of this, right? This is why this is just a failure of so many people involved, because one of the main reasons why the NFLPA did not want to get this out is really was led by one person, which is JC
AC
Tretter.
Trust.
JC Tretter, because he was talking crap about Russell Wilson. He didn't want to look bad. So he allegedly went out of his way to suppress this, even though it's clearly bigger than you. This is about the 1,500 players in the NFL.
Well, that and the Lloyd Howell shit too, right? Like, that was super shady as well. The fact that you had someone in the NFL kind of manufacture a position for you,
Of
chief
course.
strategist operator,
Of
right?
course.
Like,
When have
and
you
you're
ever heard
part
of
of it.
a CSO? What is a CSO?
That plays a
So
part too.
it is the biggest crime of all of this is that so many football players had no idea. That's really the biggest crime of all of this. So many of the dudes had no idea about this report. So many of the dudes had no idea about this grievance. Part of it is because NFL players don't really pay attention. Like, a lot of people I know, I've listened to people who were in the NFLPA that were their player reps, because all 32 teams have a player rep that's designated. A lot of player reps will say, "Hey, man, trying to get these dudes to listen, trying to get these dudes to pay attention, it is a pain in itself." 3/4 or 3/4 of NFL players voted on the last CBA, which means 1/4 of the entire pool of football players didn't even vote on the CBA.
And
Something
a
that
quarter of
has
players didn't even vote, bro.
a
Man.
quarter of players didn't even vote on something as massive as the CBA. So I understand where you might throw the information out there and guys just don't receive it because they don't care. But that's not what this was. This was actively held back because of one person's ego. The person who's supposed to be the most egoless in this entire situation, which is JC Tretter. So yeah, this has just been incredible theater, right? Like the worst part of it is that there is really, if this can't get proven to be collusion, nothing will. And the byproduct of this is that what happens because of this being a smoking gun, this is just going to make the NFL go back to the drawing board and be even more judicious, even more clever with how they get their messaging around. You feel me? Smarter.
Cover the tracks better.
Cover their tracks way
Don't let a
better.
cheater know that you on to him, man, because they're just gonna cover their track. Don't let a cheater know that you on to him. Play that silent
Um,
game.
I thought we were going to go longer, but I think we did a good job of pretty much covering everything for the most part, right? Like, it's a 61-page document. It's a 61-page report. You can read it. It's on there. There's an article on about ESPN. Pablo Torre finds out, has the full breakdown on his podcast. Was before we get out of here, what was there anything that you wanted to address that we didn't cover that you think we didn't cover?
You know what? I actually had a whole bunch of things.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Because I want to make
Oh,
sure that we do our due diligence before we move on.
the main thing for me as I'm going through my notes, we covered most of this. Sarah Feinberg, we don't need to talk about that. The thing that got me, Herbie, was have you ever heard of the NFL Management Council? Like what? Like
I never heard of it, but this is where listening to a lot of people on a lot of different spectrums come in handy, right? So I listened to a dude by the name of David Sampson. If you don't know who David Sampson is, David Sampson was the previous general manager or president of the Miami Marlins, Florida Marlins, whichever you want to call it. And he said that there is management councils in a lot of these organizations right now. Do we hear about them? No, because we're football fans. I just want to see highlights and some X's and O's, bro. I don't care about no
right,
damn management council. But
right.
it is not out of the norm. It's just something that's never been publicized. Now, them co-signing with not doing guaranteed contracts, that is crazy.
Crazy.
That is crazy, and that speaks to this this secret what's the word I'm looking for? This secret hearing to even get an executive director. I remember when DeMaurice Smith, and DeMaurice Smith got a lot of slack, right? But I remember when DeMaurice Smith was up replacing Gene Upshaw. It was out in the public. You would have thought it was a presidential campaign. I knew who DeMaurice Smith was because he was campaigning to become the NFL director, right? Like, from my
As opposed
understanding,
to Lord Howell, who they had a secret freaking a meeting for it, right? They kept
it
it under wraps, which is what adds to you know what kills me about all this, Herbie, is that unions are normally known as organizations you can trust, and the NFLPA to me is just the most incompetent sports union there has to be. I don't think there's a union worse than them in
Well,
sports.
okay. So again, this is why it's good to listen to all sides of the spectrum. So Dominique Foxworth is a sports commentator. He used to play in the NFL. He used to play for the Ravens. He used to play for the Falcons. He used to play for the Broncos, if I'm not mistaken. He was a part of the NFLPA, and he always brings up this one thing when it comes to football specifically, right? Football, universally in regards to American sports, is considered the weakest union, but there is a reason why. By far, that sport has the least amount of leverage. There's too many people that have too much self-interest. There's too many people who are not going to do the hard things, and it's justifiable. The average football career is 3.5 years, right? Like, it's going to be hard to sell people on sacrificing the now for the future when the now is only 3.5 years. Now it's
On
three
average, yeah,
years, right?
right.
So it seems like incompetent. It seems like it's weak. Now this version of it, 100% is incompetent. that's neither here nor there. This current version, but the last version, the guys that were a part of that 2010 CBA, where there was a lockout for I want to say up and right up until to season one or week one. Um, there's only so many things you could fight for, right? The NFL is 32 people. I mean, the NFL owners who you're fighting against when you're in these negotiations for a collective bargaining agreement, you have to fight 32 people. The owners who have all the money saying we got to fight 1,500. Out of 1,500, a lot of people gonna fold, and we got the most important people on our side, which is the quarterbacks. When do you ever see the quarterbacks really feel like they're not going to cross the picket line during any of these negotiations? So if you don't got the quarterbacks and you don't have complete solidarity, what do you really have, bro?
Speaking facts. Speaking
You
facts.
know what I'm saying? So
Speaking facts.
it is tough. It is tough. And again, this current iteration of the NFLPA is 100% weak and incompetent. But I do want to I just want to give that context to shape the conversation, how we get to this point where the NFL players keep losing. Like going into this one, right? Because we're coming up on 10 years, which is kind of crazy. Time flies. The
Flies.
next the next CBA, everything is hinged around 18 games. That is where it's going to start. That's where it's going to end. Um, the owners want 18 games, more money, more revenue, more ads, all of that. The players obviously don't want that. But what can the players really do to stop it, right? Like, a lot of people don't know this. The players on the one before the 2010 CBA, I think it was a 51-49 split from revenue. On 2010, that shit went from 51-49 to 53-47. And I think it's going to go the opposite way again in this one. I think the owners are trying to get it down to 45-55. Nasty work. But what can you do to stop it? And stuff like this is why, right? Like, because they could play in your face and still win, bro.
That shit. You know what? It's crazy, man. And listen, I'm not gonna be one to tell fans how they should feel about it because everybody's gonna feel about it a certain way. But ultimately, Herbie, like, is it gonna change the way we view football? Is it gonna change the way we
Nope.
watch the games? No.
Nope. Nope.
Like that, and that I think to me, that's probably the most. I don't know. I don't want to say terrifying because that's not the word I want to use, but it's probably the most. The thing that stands out to me the most when it comes to this situation is the fact that it would take the owners, it would take the NFL, it would take something outlandishly egregious for us to just be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna put football down." That's how ingrained in our system this all this is,
The
right? We
funny
get
thing about
no
it is a peaceful protest is more egregious than collusion to a lot of these people, bro.
in terms of viewing, yes, in terms
Which
of
is
view
crazy,
perception,
right?
yeah.
And before we get out of here, I want to go ahead and speak to the fan side of this, right? Um, I'm gonna go full screen for this one real quick, Rod.
Go,
When it comes to this fight, labor versus management, labor versus owners, I just find it odd that so many people side with their oppressors, side with the people that effed them over, side with the people that screw them over, side with the people who it's their entire job to get the most out of you for the least amount of money because of jealousy. Like, going on the comment section, reading a lot of the comments from the people that were having this conversation and that were actually intrigued by this whole collusion story, you hear all the people getting mad at the players saying they don't deserve a guaranteed contract anyway. They're already making millions. I got to go to work and I don't make no millions. So what? I'm sorry you weren't good enough at whatever you are excellent at that could make you millions of dollars. That's how the cookie crumbles. But you should still be on the side of labor because you're labor. It doesn't make any sense. How can you people not put your jealousy away? Put your anger and your animus away to see the bigger picture. Why are you not more mad at the owners for doing this than the players for just being mad about getting screwed? You are the player. You get screwed. every single day. How could you not empathize with that? Because you don't think they deserve the money that they're making? That's capitalism. It's a free market. Go be good enough at something that pays you millions of dollars. Don't be mad at people that are in that position and make you lose sight of the goal. So I just find it absolutely infuriating to see the messaging from the people who side with the people that care about them the least. And that's just the message I just wanted to get off, Rod. And
Honestly, man, you speaking some real
no,
stuff.
work in
I'm gonna get
progress.
better about it, man.
Work
I'm
in
trying to
progress,
snap.
man. Work in progress, man. Work in
Work in
progress, man.
progress.
All right, any last things before we get about here, man?
Listen, man, Herbie, man, this was a doozy, man. I had a great time on this episode, bro.
Nah,
Um,
this is one of the episodes where it's just like, thank God that the football rewarded us, dog, because we actually got something to talk about. Thank God.
you know what? You know what? It makes me feel like, Herbie. I cannot wait for this season to start, bro.
Oh
Because
my God.
because
Holy,
Spin Out
oh
of
my
Water
God.
family, y'all gonna get to really get the full experience because we're gonna be doing these games. We're gonna be talking about these teams. I can't wait.
I can't wait either, man. So with that, we will see y'all next week, man. Deuces.
Doses.